You're 17 of 30 in your last 7 games. You're averaging basically 2 to 3 hits, a run, a double, and an RBI every game. What when you get hot like this, how good does it feel in the box, and what's kind of going through your mind as you go up to the plate?
Well, you feel a little bit bigger than everyone else. I mean, you feel a lot more confident, especially the way I was swinging it earlier in league. But I mean, it's just trusting yourself, really. I think that was the biggest key. I wasn't really trusting myself, wasn't trusting my swing at all, and so I just kept it simple. And talking to Hookie, having Hookie really back is helps me out. So
Now, how does somebody your size start feeling bigger? I mean, are you feeling like a giant out there now, or what? I mean, you're already bigger than almost everybody on the field to begin with.
yeah, I mean, you just keep the puff the chest out a little bit more. But I mean, this game it could squash you in a second. It really can, especially your confidence. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good.
And since Hookie's been back, what kind of things have you been working on in your approach that's led to this success?
He's just been what he's been seeing since Santa Barbara, Cal Poly, and Riverside, and Long Beach. He's just been telling me that I've been pulling off a little bit more and just not really staying inside the ball. And so he's just told me that I've been working on it, working more on my hands, and not really working on such a hard load. I mean, that would just bounce my eyes up and down. I think that was the biggest key of I would see the ball, I'd recognize it, but when I would start to swing, my eyes would bob up and down, and I just would never make solid contact. So he helped me on that, and I mean, since he's been back, that's what we've been working on, staying inside the ball and shooting the ball more of the right field, taking what the pitcher's been giving me.
And it seems like everybody in the lineup's kind of followed that approach of going the opposite way, especially guys at the bottom of the order. How good does it feel for you and Maddie to get up and there be 2 or 3 guys on base, whereas a lot of times earlier in the season, you come up and the bases are empty?
Oh, it puts more pressure on the pitcher. I mean, when we're coming up too, I mean, it's a really confidence booster for us, knowing that it takes the pressure off of us, knowing that in the beginning of the league and beginning of the year that me and Chappie had to put the team on our back, and that wasn't what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to just be ourselves, really, and have the team follow us and be leaders, kind of a third thing, instead of just carrying the team. And so with guys on base and doing their job, and I mean, just having good at bats, I mean, it's contagious for us, and it puts confidence into us too.
And Chapman's been bounced around the order. With him batting behind you for the last few games here, do you notice the pitchers pitching you different with him behind you, seeing him on deck, or does your mindset change at all with him being behind you?
A little bit. I mean, he protects me. I mean, I protected him in the beginning of the year. He was getting hot when he was in front of me, and then now it's kind of switched. But yeah, I mean, I've been seeing a lot more fastballs, especially, I mean, not in, but just away. I mean, I still get my courtesy hitters counts, the sliders and everything, but I mean, it is what it is. Especially with me and Chappie, you're going to get those pitches. So I mean, I do get a lot more fastballs than I have in the past, and but then I get on base a lot easier than Chappie, and Chappie likes that, especially. I mean, he loves the RBI, so I try to get on base for him. I mean, and he just drives me in. He does his job as a 4-hole hitter.
And what's it been like for you being a two-way guy this year? You had Mike do it last year, Lorenzen being the closer. You kind of were given that role this year. You and Kobe kind of split the job. How tough is it for you, bouncing back and forth? Most of the time you're spent hitting, but when you have to go warm up in between the bats or what it may be, how tough has that been for you?
Sometimes it's kind of a rush. I mean, especially, for example, Irvine, I was warming up in the 7th, and I was the fourth guy up, and I had to go throw down like 10, 15 pitches, then run back down. So, thanks. But I mean, it's a little sometimes of a rush. I mean, not getting ready to pitch and going in there and just hopefully just slinging the ball in there and not getting warmed up. But no, I mean, Mike told me when he left, just try to keep your head up. I mean, whatever, because it was hard for him sometimes too. I mean, he would throw 98, but the guys would still hit him, and they'd hit balls off the wall off him. So I mean, he just said, just do what you can, especially on the mound or at the plate. And I've taken that to heart and just done what I can control.
And one last thing, big a guy as you are, how do you get the nickname Bubbles?
That was based off freshman year. I was came in at like 235, big old head, big old butt, big old body, and I was just basically Bubbles. And so it's stuck ever since. Even though if I lost weight, I've lost over 20 pounds, and it still sticks. So Hookie loves calling me Bubs, and so that's the nickname that just came apart. And first it was Bubba, and then all of a sudden I called me Bubs or Bubbles one day and Bubs, and then I got a hit and that just stuck. He's like, all right, that's your lucky name. And I was just like, oh, all right, sweet name. So, so